Am I the a-hole for not telling my ex-wife that we lived in a rental apartment? Back in 2008 when I started university, I rented a 2-bedroom apartment with my ex-girlfriend at the time and my friend and his girlfriend. We got a great deal for it, as the owner of the place lost his job because of everything that happened back then and decided to try her luck abroad, where she still lives. Years went by and after university my friend and his GF decided to find a place of their own. As we had full-time jobs, renting this apartment together did not seem expensive anymore, and also did not seem expensive to rent alone after we broke up some time later. So there I was, alone in a 2-bedroom apartment in the central part of the city. The owner decided that she was too lazy to mess with bills and stuff every month and made arrangements for me to pay everything directly. As I earned her trust, I still pay her monthly rent, which is very cheap for today, and deal with everything else without her authorization. Because of the perfect location, my 2nd bedroom was basically free bread and breakfast for my friends who did not live in the city, and I did not mind. It is good to have company if you live alone. In 2020 I met a girl who was in a rush to get married, and as I was madly in love we did in 2021. For some reason, I never told her the story of how I rented the place or that it was a rental at all. It just never came up. I have been so used to the fact that I am an authorized representative with building cooperative things etc. that I refer to it as my place. Our relationship started to cool down and we found out that we were not perfect for each other after all, so divorce it is. So we did the paperwork for divorce and she is moving out. A few days ago, I received an email from her with a real estate valuation document as an attachment. While I was not at home, she wasted €500 for someone to evaluate an apartment that does not belong to us, and wrote that I probably have to take out a loan to pay her the 50% of that. I replied to her, didn't I ever tell her that this place is a rental? Why does she even assume that I can afford a 2-bedroom apartment in the city center? She knows where I work and how much I earn. She called and screamed at me that I had lied to her for years and hid the fact that the apartment was a rental. Then she tells me that, well, she will take the car as we got that together. And I was quiet for a moment and then told her, you do know that is a lease, right? The owner of the car is the bank. Then she demanded that I pay for the valuation and I replied, I did not ask you to do it. She called me a nail and ended the call. Of course, she told our whole friends group how I lied to her during the whole marriage, and there was a discussion in a messenger group with friends that if it is a lie or not, whether it was an illegal thing to do. Some agree with me and some with her. So am I the a-hole here?
Here are the top comments, plus Opie's reply.
It's odd you didn't tell her, but also odd that it wasn't part of your conversation about life and who was paying for things and how and so on. Not the a-hole.
OP replied,
she did cover approximately 50% of the utility bills, as she wanted to contribute. And it was no secret that I had been living there for a very long time. I just never spelt it out that this is rental. I think she assumed I owed it because we did some maintenance there together that you normally don't do in a rental. Changed the wallpaper in the living room, and got a few appliances when old ones broke down.
I'm sorry. This is technically not funny, but I laughed so much when she tried to get half of the apartment, failed, then tried to get the car, and you just dropped. That's a rental. She tried so hard. Not the a-hole. It's weird that it didn't come up at some point, but you are not an a-hole for not specifically telling her.
I really enjoy when greedy people get nothing. Not the a-hole, and thanks for sharing.